Go now.
Most heated courtroom moments. Courtrooms are meant to be places of order, justice, calm, but sometimes even the law's last safe space becomes a stage for absolute chaos. Today, we're diving into the most heated courtroom cases where anger, delusion, and desperation exploded before the judge's eyes. Case 1. Deobra Redden, 31, Nevada. Charged with attempted murder, battery on a protected person, intimidating a public officer, and committing an unlawful act involving bodily fluids. Deobra Redden, a man with a long history of violent behavior and untreated schizophrenia, stood trial in Clark County, Nevada, for attempted battery. What was meant to be a routine hearing erupted into chaos in a way that shocked the nation. It was January. District Judge Mary Kay Holthus was preparing to sentence Redden when, without warning, he vaulted over the judge's bench in a Superman-style leap.
The laws of the state of Nevada.
Oh, fuck that bitch! Hey! Oh, hey!
The courtroom erupted as he tackled the judge, pulling her hair and screaming obscenities. The attack was violent and chaotic. Judge Holthus, a marshal, and a police officer were all injured as bailiffs and deputies rushed to subdue him.
Now, with the Las Vegas judge who was attacked by a defendant earlier this year taking the stand at his trial.
The footage of Redden flying over the bench went viral, replayed across national news outlets, and even spoofed on Saturday Night Live.
Recently, a video went viral of a defendant attacking a judge in a Las Vegas courthouse. Let's have a look.
The images were shocking, a stark reminder of how quickly a courtroom can descend into violence. In court, Redden later explained that
but it's appropriate for you then you have to do what you have to do. But I figured that
he had seen spirits, heard voices, and felt under attack. He insisted he hadn't intended to kill Judge Holthus, claiming, "I know I cared about her well-being." But Judge Holthus saw things differently. A statement read by Chief Deputy District Attorney John Giordani declared,
Human, I don't know. From the time he came through the air and smashed into me, he knocked me literally almost through the wall.
He made a conscious decision to kill me and made every effort to succeed. During his September trial, Redden pleaded guilty but mentally ill to multiple charges: attempted murder of an older person, battery on a protected person resulting in substantial bodily harm, intimidating a public officer, and committing an unlawful act involving bodily fluids. Defense attorney Carl Arnold emphasized that Redden suffered from schizophrenia and was off his medication at the time. Prosecutors argued that Redden's criminal history and lack of impulse control showed he was incapable of rehabilitation. He had 12 previous convictions, all involving violence. The only time he did not commit new crimes was when he was in custody, Chief Deputy District Attorney Elizabeth Mercer told the court. Arnold countered that, once on medication, Redden became compliant, courteous, and remorseful. At sentencing, Redden's demeanor was a stark contrast to the earlier attack. Surrounded by marshals and correctional officers, he listened quietly as Judge Susan Johnson announced a prison term of 26 to 65 years. He turned to his family, smiled faintly, said, "Love y'all," and blew a kiss as he was led from the courtroom. A surreal, almost humanizing moment after a violent outburst that had shocked the nation. Judge Johnson noted, "It was not just retaliation or an attack on Judge Holthus. It was also an attack on the judiciary." The sentence was separate from an earlier 19 to 48-month term, making clear that Redden would spend decades behind bars. Case 2, Christopher Teel, 26 of Seattle, was awaiting trial for the alleged rape of a 40-year-old woman inside a Ballard car dealership restroom.
New tonight, a man convicted of raping a woman in a car dealership bathroom has been sentenced.
But during a hearing meant to assess his mental competency, Teel became violently unpredictable, and his target was the very person defending him, In Superior Court before Judge Karen Donahue, Teel stood beside his attorney, public defender Reed Birkeland. As the judge addressed the competency hearing, Teel suddenly turned and struck Birkeland in the face. Gasps filled the courtroom, and 4 deputies immediately tackled him to the ground, restraining him as the chaos unfolded. Spectators were stunned. Silence gave way to murmurs of disbelief. The next day, Birkeland withdrew from representing Teel, leaving the King County Department of Public Defense scrambling to assign a new lawyer. Teel remained jailed on a $1 million bond, awaiting charges of rape and sexual assault stemming from the alleged 2018 incident in which he allegedly locked a 40-year-old woman inside a bathroom at Carter Volkswagen and assaulted her. At the time, Teel was a 6'3", 250-pound man, an intimidating presence even without his violent outburst in court. Birkeland later told reporters, "I hold no ill will against Mr. Teel."
I have a question though. Are you running a diminished capacity or insanity or anything of that nature?
I don't have anything to talk about.
Emphasizing that the attorney did not blame Teel personally for the punch, but acknowledged that the attorney-client relationship was irreparably damaged. Teel's sudden attack highlighted the volatile unpredictability of individuals facing mental health issues while navigating the criminal justice system, leaving the courtroom tense and shaken. Case 3, Ricky Hand, 46, from Springfield, Ohio, was a repeat offender with convictions for armed robbery and burglary. During sentencing for a string of robberies, he orchestrated one of the most revolting courtroom outbursts in memory. As the judge read his sentence, 40 years in prison.
You just gave me 40 years, sir. Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what?
Hand reached into his pants and hurled bottles filled with his own feces and urine toward the bench. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Spectators screamed, bailiffs scrambled, and deputies tried to contain the disgust and panic that rippled through the room.
A Springfield man possibly facing new charges tonight after he throws urine and feces on his attorney in court.
Investigators later discovered that Hand had smuggled the bottles into court, hiding them in his clothes. The sheriff confirmed that deputies had received warnings of a potential attack, yet Hand was not searched before entering the courtroom. Hand should have been checked before being allowed before a judge, said Sheriff Gene Kelly.
Our policy dictates that there's a search prior to and a search after he leaves, and that was very apparently not done.
Noting that policies required searches before entry. Hand's rage was fueled not only by his sentence, but by the life he had lived. He had pleaded guilty to 7 charges, including aggravated robbery, and breaking and entering, with a history of using weapons like knives and firearms in his crimes. During the sentencing, Hand screamed, "40 years? That's a life sentence." In a quieter follow-up hearing, he admitted remorse. "I'm sorry for being a criminal," he told the judge, but the damage was already done. A grotesque reminder of how deeply anger and frustration can manifest in human behavior, even in spaces meant for justice and order. Case 4, Melissa Hardwick, 45, of McCreary County, Kentucky, appeared in family court on a domestic violence case involving her ex-husband. When Judge Jennifer Upchurch Edwards sentenced her to 10 days for contempt, Hardwick chose to escalate the situation dramatically. In a flash, she jumped over the judge's bench, shouting threats as bailiffs rushed to restrain her. The courtroom erupted, documents flew, officers shouted, and spectators watched in disbelief.
Go now.
Video footage captured the incident and spread rapidly across statewide news networks and CNN. Hardwick had already been disruptive, interrupting the proceedings and ignoring repeated admonitions to be quiet. As bailiffs approached to handcuff her, she continued yelling and threatening the judge.
Wait and see. Get my bracelet off the floor.
Upchurch Edwards was unharmed, but the attack added multiple felony charges.
A new judge will have to be appointed to represent because she will be charged criminally for the threats that were made in open court today,
including terroristic threatening in the 3rd degree, intimidating a participant in a legal process, and resisting arrest. She also received 120 days for contempt of court. The incident left an indelible mark on the small-town courtroom. The judge informed Hardwick's ex-husband that another judge would handle the domestic violence case. A minor contempt case had escalated into multiple felonies, all captured on video for the world to see. A shocking example of how courtroom order can collapse under human emotion. Case 5. Webb, once a fierce mixed martial arts fighter, now stands infamous for something far darker. At 33, he's a man with a violent past and a trail of destruction behind him. Already awaiting 2 murder trials, Webb returns to court once again.
In 2013, Webb was convicted of third-degree assault for spitting in the face of a corrections officer in Fayette County.
This time for a shocking act that left Kentucky law enforcement stunned, attempting to run down 2 officers outside the Bourbon County Jail. The courtroom in Paris, Kentucky, is tense. Webb sits shackled at the defense table, his face unreadable. Family members, officers, and reporters crowd the gallery as Judge Jean Logue takes her seat. "We are here for sentencing in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Webb," she begins. "Mr. Webb, you were found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder." Defense attorney Craig Newbern pleads for leniency. "Your Honor, the jury's recommendation of consecutive 25-year sentences is excessive. 1 officer wasn't even injured. We ask that the sentences run concurrently." Prosecutor Gordy Shaw rises, voice sharp. This wasn't an accident. Webb used his vehicle as a weapon. He aimed for 2 officers and showed no regard for human life. 50 years isn't excessive. It's justice. The courtroom listens as Shaw recounts the 2009 attack. It was a quiet evening outside the Bourbon County Jail. 2 officers, Josh Mason and Ryan Barkley, stood by the garage when a red geo-tracker roared toward them. Tires screeched, metal crunched. Mason dove clear, but Barkley's leg was crushed between the vehicle and the wall. Officers rushed in as Webb climbed out, sneering. "Should have stayed out of my way," he spat as they took him down. Now, years later, the echoes of that moment fill the room. Judge Logue's voice is steady. The jury heard this case in full and reached its decision unanimously. For 2 counts of attempted murder, this court sentences you to 25 years on each count, to run consecutively, 50 years total. A hush falls, some gasp quietly, others close their eyes in relief. Webb doesn't react. Deputies move in, chains rattling as they escort him away. Reporters swarm the hallway. Was justice served?
Was charged with her murder. He's already serving a 50-year sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend, Bria Runowitz, in Harrison County while her children were in the home. Today he came into the courtroom with tattoos that read, "Kill rats."
One asks. Shaw nods. Webb has no regard for human life. The jury got it right. Newbern only murmurs, "We respect the ruling, though we believe it harsh." Inside, 1 woman remains. Dora Claire, mother of Bria Runowitz, one of Webb's alleged murder victims. 50 years isn't enough, she says softly, but it's a start. "I'll be at every hearing until the end." As Webb exits, cameras flash. His eyes are cold, detached. The same man who, during an earlier arraignment, spat directly in a judge's face.
I don't want to try this case or have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for 1 further second. Set for the rear view next week.
That act forced Judge Vanessa Dixon to recuse herself, replaced by Judge Logue. For Webb, violence isn't just part of his story, it is his story. With 2 murder trials still ahead, the path of destruction he's carved seems far from over. But for the families left behind, this sentence marks 1 small step toward justice. 5 defendants, 5 courtrooms, 5 moments when order collapsed under the weight of human emotion. The courtroom is supposed to be sacred, a place of justice, not violence. But sometimes, the fight for control becomes the fight itself. If you want more true courtroom stories, real chaos, real justice, no fiction, like, share, and subscribe.